Sweetheart, if you've been talking to yourself in a way you would never speak to someone you love, this is your moment to come home to kindness. Somewhere along the way, you may have learned that being hard on yourself would make you better, that criticism would keep you safe, that if you pushed enough, judged enough, fixed enough, you could finally deserve your own love. And I want you to know something very gently. You do not have to earn love by hurting yourself. You do not heal through punishment. You heal through understanding, through patience, through compassion. And if you've been carrying a heavy inner voice that says, "What's wrong with you?" or "You should have done more," or "You're not enough," I want you to take a slow breath right now. Let your shoulders soften, let your jaw relax, and let the truth settle in like warm sunlight. There is nothing wrong with you for having that voice. It often begins as a survival tool. Many of us were taught, directly or quietly, that love was conditional. That approval came when we performed perfectly. That mistakes meant we were unworthy, and so the mind tries to protect us by becoming a strict guard at the door of our life, shouting instructions, warnings, judgments. But dear one, a guard who only shouts eventually becomes a tyrant, and the heart cannot bloom under tyranny. What I'm sharing with you today is a gentle practice, something you can return to again and again, that may help you soften that harsh inner voice and begin healing from the inside out. This is not a replacement for professional support when you need it. It's a loving tool for your daily journey, a way to bring your mind back into partnership with your heart. And over time, as you practice, you may discover something beautiful. The voice of love inside you becomes stronger than the voice of criticism. Not instantly, not perfectly, but steadily, like a dawn that does not rush, yet always arrives. So let's begin, sweetheart, right where you are. The voice that criticizes you so harshly is not the truth of you. It's a learned voice that can be unlearned. You were not born hating yourself. A baby does not look in the mirror and say, "I'm too much." A child does not come into the world believing they must prove their worth every day. These are ideas we absorb from family, from school, from culture, from painful experiences, from moments when we were misunderstood or shamed. Sometimes the critic is made of words that were spoken to you, and sometimes it's made of words that were never spoken but were felt. The mind is so sensitive, dear one. It watches and learns. It draws conclusions. It tries to prevent future pain by creating rules. Don't make mistakes. Don't ask for help. Don't be too loud. Don't be too needy. Don't be too you. And then later, when you're grown, that old program still runs, like a voice in the background, commenting, judging, pushing, scolding. But here is what I've learned. You are not the critic. You are the one hearing it. You are the awareness behind it. And that means you have choices, not all at once, not with force, but with gentle consistency. Imagine your mind as a home. A real home with rooms and windows and doors. For a long time, you may have allowed a very harsh tenant to live there. This tenant stomps through the rooms, slams cabinets, points out every flaw in the walls and says, "This place isn't good enough." And you may have believed you needed that tenant. You may have thought, "If I kick them out, the house will fall apart." But what if you simply realized, sweetheart, that you own the home? What if you remembered that you get to decide who lives inside you? The critic may have been trying to protect you from rejection, from failure, from being hurt again. So we don't have to hate the critic. We don't have to fight it. Fighting creates more tension. And tension is exactly what we are ready to release. Instead, we can thank it for its attempt and begin choosing a new voice, a kinder voice, a healing voice. And if that feels hard, if you think, "I don't even know how to be kind to myself," that's okay. That's more common than you think. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're learning. Let yourself learn. Right now, just whisper inside your mind, even if you don't fully believe it yet, I choose to be gentle with myself, and breathe. When we criticize ourselves, we may think we're improving, but often we're actually tightening the body and shrinking the spirit. Have you ever noticed what happens inside you when you judge yourself? The chest tightens, the belly clenches, the breath becomes shallow as the shoulders lift, the mind races. Criticism is not just words, it is an energy, it is a pressure, and the body listens. Many people don't realize how deeply their self-talk affects their nervous system. When the inner voice is harsh, the body can live as if it's under threat. And when the body feels threatened, it does not heal easily. It focuses on survival, it narrows, it braces. This is why I often say that loving thoughts create loving experiences. Not because life becomes perfect, but because your inner environment becomes safer. And in a safe inner environment, you can grow. You can make better choices, not from fear, but from clarity. You can set boundaries, not from anger, but from self-respect. You can rest without guilt. You can try again without humiliation. Criticism may seem motivating, but it often drains our energy. It takes so much effort to fight ourselves. It is exhausting to live with an inner bully. And dear one, I have been there. I used to believe that if I didn't criticize myself, I would never change. I thought I had to be strict. I thought I had to punish myself into improvement. But what I discovered is this. When I speak to myself with love, I become more willing to grow. Love opens the heart. Love opens the mind. Love invites cooperation. Fear only forces compliance. And compliance is not healing. Healing is partnership. So let's look at this with compassion. Your criticism may have been an old method to try to keep you safe. It may have been the only tool you had. But now you are learning new tools. Tools that don't hurt. Tools that support you. Tools that feel like warm hands, not sharp edges. Take a breath and ask yourself, just softly, what does my inner critic think it's protecting me from? You may not get an answer right away. That's okay. Just asking begins to open a door. And now, whisper again, I choose to be gentle with myself. Let that sentence be a balm. And pause. Healing begins the instant you notice the criticism and simply pause as if you've just caught a storm before it enters the house. Sweetheart, one of the most powerful moments in healing is the moment you catch yourself. Not to scold yourself for being negative. Not to say, ugh, I'm doing it again. But to simply notice, oh, there's that voice. When you notice, you step out of being the criticism and into being the observer. And the observer has options. Imagine a storm outside your home, dark clouds, wind, a cold rush at the door. If you fling the door open, the storm rushes inside. It tosses papers around, it chills the rooms, it makes the whole space feel unsafe. But if you notice the storm and you close the door gently, you create shelter. The storm may still exist outside, but your inner home stays protected. That is what a pause does. A pause is you closing the door to cruelty. It can be 1 second, one breath, one hand on your heart. And in that pause, you give yourself a new possibility. Here's a simple practice you can try right now. The next time you hear self-criticism, instead of continuing the argument in your head, you do this. You stop. You breathe. You name it. You say, that's criticism. Naming it brings clarity. It separates you from it. Then you add one soft sentence, just one, something like, I'm learning. I'm doing the best I can today. I can begin again. You don't need a perfect affirmation. You need a kind interruption. At first, it might feel unnatural. It might feel like you're being too gentle. You might think, but I really did mess up. And I understand. Kindness does not deny reality. Kindness changes the response to reality. It says, yes, that happened, and I'm still worthy of love. That is healing. That is maturity. That is strength. So the process is simple. Notice, pause, name, replace. And sweetheart, if you only do this once today, that is still a victory. One moment of kindness is like a candle in a dark room. It may not light the whole house at once, but it begins. It begins. Take a slow breath and try it with me. Think of one critical thought you often have, just one. Now gently name it. That's criticism. And replace it with, I choose to be gentle with myself. Let your body feel the difference, and pause. Let me share what I discovered. The mind responds to love the way a garden responds to water. I want you to imagine your inner world as a garden. Your thoughts are like seeds. Some seeds were planted intentionally, beautiful beliefs you chose, and some seeds were planted by others, ideas that fell into your soil when you were vulnerable, when you were young, when you were trying to belong. If the garden has been watered with criticism, then certain plants grow very well. Worry, perfectionism, shame, self-doubt. These plants become thick, they crowd the path, they block the sunlight. And you may think, this is just how my garden is. But sweetheart, it's not who you are. It's what has been nourished. The garden responds to attention. So what do? We don't stand over the garden yelling, why are you like this? We don't punish the soil. We begin watering something new. We begin nourishing the seeds of love. And yes, at first, the loving seeds may feel small. The plants may look delicate. They may not stand tall yet. That's okay. New growth is tender. New growth needs patience. This is why daily practice matters. Not because you must be perfect, but because love grows through repetition. Just like a garden needs steady water, your mind needs steady kindness. Let your new practice be simple. When you catch criticism, you water the garden with one loving thought. When you feel shame, you water the garden with compassion. When you feel fear, you water the garden with reassurance. It can be as small as a whisper, I'm here. I'm safe. I can learn. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It has to be consistent. And I know, some days you'll forget. Some days you'll fall back into old habits. That's not failure. That's gardening. Sometimes weeds return. You don't scream at the garden. You pull them gently and keep going. You keep going. So let me offer you a gentle image. Every time you choose kindness, you pour a little water onto the roots of your healing. You may not see the bloom immediately, but the roots feel it. And in time, the bloom arrives. Right now, place a hand on your heart and say, I choose to be gentle with myself. And imagine that sentence as water. Let it soak in. Pause. Forgiveness is not saying the past was okay. It's saying you are ready to stop punishing yourself for being human. For many people, criticism is tied to the past. Regrets, mistakes, words spoken, opportunities missed. And the mind says, if I keep punishing you, we'll never do that again. But sweetheart, punishment is not the same as wisdom. Wisdom is learning. Punishment is suffering. You can learn without suffering. You can grow without cruelty. Forgiveness is one of the most healing choices you can make. Not because you excuse harm, not because you pretend something didn't matter, but because you decide you will not keep cutting yourself with yesterday's knife. I want to speak to the part of you that feels ashamed. Dear one, you were doing the best you could with the awareness you had then. You may not have had the tools you have now. You may not have had support. You may not have known how to regulate your emotions. You may not have known your worth. And the beautiful thing is, you're here now. You're here now. And being here means you are already changing. If you're willing, try a gentle forgiveness sentence, not as a dramatic announcement, but as a soft release. You can say, I forgive myself for not knowing then what I know now. Let that be enough. Or, I release the need to punish myself. Or, I am willing to see myself with compassion. Notice the word willing. Willingness is powerful. It doesn't demand instant perfection. It opens the door. And sometimes forgiveness comes in layers. You may forgive one part today and another part next month. That's okay. Healing is not a straight line, it's a spiral. You revisit themes with more kindness each time, like walking through the same garden in different seasons and noticing new colors. So when the critic says, "How could you?" you can respond gently, "I was learning." When the critic says you ruined everything, you can respond, "I can begin again." When the critic says you don't deserve love, you can respond, "I am learning to love myself." You are not trying to erase the past. You are trying to stop living inside it. And the moment you speak kindly to yourself about what happened, you reclaim your life. Take one breath and whisper, "I choose to be gentle with myself." Pause. Now we make it practical. One gentle sentence, repeated consistently, can begin to retrain your inner world. I love simple practices because they work with real life. You don't need hours of free time. You don't need a perfect mood. You don't need to be spiritual enough. You need a moment in the morning, a moment in the mirror, a moment before sleep, because your mind has been trained through repetition. And it can be retrained the same way. This is where mirror work can be a beautiful support. Now, some people feel uncomfortable with mirrors. They think it's vain, or they feel sadness when they look at themselves. If that's you, sweetheart, go slowly. Be gentle. You don't force this, you invite it. You might begin by simply looking into your eyes for 2 seconds. That's all. And then you say one kind sentence, not 10, not 50, 1. "Hello, sweetheart," or "I'm here with you," or "I choose to be gentle with myself." The mirror is powerful because it brings you into direct relationship with yourself. Many of us have spent years avoiding ourselves, avoiding our feelings, avoiding our needs, avoiding our own gaze, and healing begins when you stop abandoning yourself. When you look into your own eyes and say, "I will not leave you," that is a deep medicine. Now, if the inner critic screams when you try this, if it says, "This is stupid," or "You don't mean it," or "You're lying," that's okay. That is just the old tenant stomping around again. You don't argue with it. You simply return to kindness. You can say, "Thank you, mind. I'm learning something new." And then you repeat your gentle sentence. This practice may help you slowly build trust with yourself, and trust is what the nervous system needs in order to soften. Here is a daily rhythm you can try. In the morning, one sentence. During the day, one pause when you catch criticism. At night, one sentence again. That's it. And if you miss a day, you do not punish yourself. You begin again. Because beginning again is the practice. And so right now, imagine tomorrow morning. Imagine yourself in front of the mirror, even briefly. And you say softly, "I choose to be gentle with myself." Can you feel how that might change the day? Not perfectly, but gently. Pause. Mirror work isn't about forcing positivity. It's about offering yourself safety while you tell a new truth. Sometimes people think affirmations are about pretending. They say, "But I don't feel lovable," or "But I don't believe that." And I understand. Affirmations are not meant to be a mask. They are meant to be a direction. They are not a demand. They are a choice. Think of your mind as a river of thought. For years, the river may have flowed in one direction, toward self-judgment, toward doubt, toward fear. That current can feel strong, so you don't try to stop the river with your bare hands. You redirect it gently, one small channel at a time. An affirmation is a new channel, a new direction for your attention. So instead of saying something that feels too far away, choose a bridge thought, something your system can accept. Instead of "I love myself completely," you might start with "I am willing to be kinder to myself." Instead of "I am perfect," you might say "I am learning and that is enough." Instead of "everything is wonderful," you might say "Today I choose one peaceful thought." These are honest, these are gentle, and honesty builds trust. Now, let's weave a few affirmations into your day in a natural way, not as a list you recite mechanically, but as soft responses to real moments. When you make a mistake, you say, "I can learn from this." When you feel overwhelmed, you say, "One breath at a time." When you feel ashamed, you say, "I offer myself compassion." When you feel the critic rising, you say, "I choose to be gentle with myself." This is how you begin to live the teaching. And as you do, you may notice you react differently. You may pause before snapping at someone. You may rest without spiraling. You may choose better food because you respect your body, not because you hate it. Love creates better behavior than fear ever could. I want you to remember this, sweetheart. Self-love is not selfish. Self-love is self-care. Self-love is self-respect. And the more you practice it, the more naturally it becomes your normal, like a river that eventually finds a new path. Take a breath and let the words land, "I choose to be gentle with myself." Pause. When a hard day returns, and it will because life is life, you can meet it with compassion instead of collapse. I want to speak to you about the days when you mess up, the days when you criticize yourself again, the days when you fall into old habits, the days when the mirror feels too hard and you turn away. Those days do not mean you are failing. Those days mean you are human. And the way you respond on those days matters more than the day itself, because relapse is not the enemy. Cruelty is. Many people fall into a painful pattern. They slip once, and then they punish themselves for slipping, and the punishment becomes a second wound. Let's not do that anymore. When you notice you're criticizing yourself, you can treat it like noticing you stepped into a puddle. You don't scream at your foot, you simply step out, dry off, and continue. So on a hard day, your practice can become even simpler. You can say, "Today is tender," or "I'm having a moment," or "I will be kind to myself anyway." Anyway, that word is powerful. It means your kindness is not conditional on your performance. Your love is not earned by being flawless. Your love is given because you are alive, because you are you, because you matter. And if you need support, sweetheart, let yourself reach for it. Talk to someone safe. Seek professional help when needed. Healing is not meant to be done alone in silence. There is strength in receiving support. But even with support, your daily self-talk is still important because you live with you. So let's make your inner home peaceful. If the critic knocks, you can say, "I hear you, and I choose love." If shame enters, you can say, "You are allowed to be here, but you will not drive." If fear rises, you can say, "I am safe in this moment." And you keep returning again and again. This is how the garden changes. This is how the river redirects. This is how the home becomes yours again. Now take a slow breath and feel your body and say, "I choose to be gentle with myself." Let that be your foundation. Pause. Sweetheart, let's bring this together now, softly, as if we are gathering warm blankets around your heart. You have learned that the inner critic is not your true self. It is an old voice, a learned voice, a protective voice that became too harsh. And you are learning a new way, not fighting, not forcing, but noticing, pausing, naming, and replacing cruelty with kindness. You are learning to water the garden of your mind with love. You are learning to close the door gently when the storm tries to enter. You are learning to redirect the river of thought into a kinder channel. And over time, you may discover that healing is not a dramatic event. It is a daily relationship, a daily choice, a daily return. So let's end with a small practice you can carry with you. Take one slow breath in, and as you breathe out, let your shoulders soften. Now, if it feels okay, place a hand on your heart and say quietly, as if you are speaking to a dear friend, I choose to be gentle with myself. I am willing to release self-criticism. I am learning to love who I am. And if that feels like too much, you can simply say, I am willing. Willingness opens the door. Now imagine your inner home becoming calmer, the rooms quiet, the windows open, light returning, not because life has no storms, but because you have learned how to create shelter inside you. Dear one, you deserve peace. You deserve kindness. You deserve to live with yourself as an ally. And whenever you forget, whenever you slip, whenever the old voice returns, you can begin again. Begin again with a breath. Begin again with a gentle sentence. Begin again with love. I'm sending you so much compassion, so much warmth, so much belief in your ability to heal, step by step, day by day, in your own beautiful timing. And remember, I choose to be gentle with myself. Always, always.